So Ed, you've already started to promote AdEvolver. It's exactly how I came across you. So tell us about why you've decided to go and promote right away, and then also what you're going to do once AdEvolver's live in its first beta form.
Well, I should say at this stage I have no idea what I'm doing. So this is where things become tricky. I've never built an app before. I'm learning a lot as I go. And every SaaS business, you speak to even the big guys, and I've had the privilege of talking to some very big founders. I won't name drop, but even they say it's difficult to really know what to do at the start. It's difficult to know what to do tomorrow, and it's all a bit chaotic. And even the big guys who look like they're doing amazing things, they're crumbling inside. So, what I've been doing, studying successful SaaS businesses. So all of the successful ones obviously have a path to success, but they're all different. I like what Hotjar did, but they're also quite different to what AdEvolver is. AdEvolver is super niche, whereas Hotjar is a bit more niche. So I've looked at Byrne, which is again a super niche product because they're essentially a metrics platform for SaaS companies, and also ConvertKit, which is something I use, but also they had very strong growth, but they've got a much bigger market. So it's a couple of takeaways from these guys. So Hotjar did what I call a super freemium approach, which I've copied essentially, where you get early access signups, so people using your beta completely free, and you get feedback at scale. However, there is a drawback to that in that my team is me, myself, and I have 2 part-time developers. So I am sort of marketing manager, customer manager, sales manager, product manager. So I know that I'll burn out on that pretty quickly because I want to talk to every single person that uses AdEvolver that wants to talk to me. I will be the customer service. And I'm still young enough to have the energy to do it just about. So
sounds like a lot of late nights though, doesn't it?
But I genuinely want people to get, I want to pay it forwards. I want I want people to learn more about AdWords that maybe aren't so good at AdWords. I want people to get more success out of it. And if I can help them, then this will all be worthwhile because I'll benefit. I'm not going to lie. I'm completely honest about this. I will profit as well. They will buy the tool and I'll get paid down the line. Sure. But in a positive way, everyone will be happy. So I'm a bit contrarian. I'm not going to use the standard routes to market. I'm going to do certain things that other people don't do and won't do, can't be bothered to do, like a YouTube channel. I'm going to keep putting out content on that channel that's complete. And this is the beauty as well. I can be completely transparent and open and give all the sweets away, the whole sweet shop, open the door, because I'm not competing with the customers. I've got no issue in anyone having all of my knowledge at all, because it will help them, to help me, to help the tool work better for them. So it's quite refreshing, actually.
I bet it's the sharing, not selling approach, Ed, isn't it? All
in
all,
100%.
Very good. So your YouTube channel, you mentioned just before we chatted on the podcast that video is a new thing for you, and you still look at the videos of yourself, even though you're very good. And you see things in it that no one else sees. So how is it kind of sharing your knowledge on YouTube to an imaginary person listening?
It's weird. I think I'm very different. If you met me in person, I'm quite quirky. I'm one of these odd extrovert, introvert sort of, I don't necessarily want to go and be the center of attention, but if you get my attention, I might be quite, I don't know, overbearing or not shut up. But with video, you've got a camera in front of your face and you're isolated. Even when you've got someone stood to the side, waving at you, saying we're ready to go, it's still very odd, and I do feel staring at the camera makes me sort of. I said this at the start before you hit record, and you were swearing about lots of stuff, and I had to. I was quite
to calm me down.
Yeah, I had to calm you down. That's why you didn't record that bit. I'm just kidding. You got to edit this out anyway. So when I stare at the camera, I get this sort of startled gaze, and I've noticed when I look back at my videos, and everyone who's going to watch one of my videos now is going to notice this. I don't blink, and I don't smile either. And when I do smile, I look like I look like I've got wind or something. It just doesn't seem very natural. And I think with video, it's a progression, and I think it's completely normal that in 6 months I'll look back and go, "Good God, they're awful," and then another year down the line I'll look back at the previous 6 months and go, "What the hell were you wearing? What were you doing?" So you just got to go with it, haven't you? As long as the value's there. I can't keep everyone happy, but the people that do like it, good, brilliant.
And I think you've had some great comments already. So that's as I was saying to you in between my swearing, Ed, just before we started. I think you come over really good on video, and it's a good channel for you, and you're sharing great things, and ultimately that's the combo of video and audio that we get beyond the podcast even. So I think you're doing something new in creating this app, AdEvolver, and for people to see you and your authenticity to come over on video, visually and through the voice is a great thing. I think that'll work for you, all in all.
I hope so. Yeah, because I'll share another little thing, because I am going to document a lot of this journey as well. But I was just looking at the stats before we came on here, and bearing in mind YouTube hasn't driven a lot of traffic, but the conversion rate for people who watch a video and click a link on the video, the conversion rate is nearly 70% for the early access sign up.
Wow! So there you go, 70%, Ed.
And to be fair, it's a small. This is a small number of people. It's only just over 100 visits, but all around the world, nearly 70%. I think it's 67 point something percent. Brilliant.
That's right. I mean,
good. So it's a small number of people, but it's high. They're showing high intent. So I love that. That means that they're finding value in the video, which is brilliant.
That's it. And equally, there's a need for what you are bringing to the market. That's what it's also telling you, I think. No one's quite got the perfect AdWords automation tool yet. And everyone's looking for it.
There won't be. I mean, from an outside perspective, from an inside perspective, we're all delusional. We're like, well, we're completely different. We're doing completely different things. But from someone who's on the outside, they'll look at us and they'll look at everyone else in the market and they'll go, well, you're just another AdWords tool. And that it's my job as the front man to differentiate us and show why we're not. There's room in the market for everyone. I do believe that. I actually think pay-per-click. I think AdWords is underserviced. There are a lot, there's premium platforms like Marion, Acquisio, Kenshu, etc. But they're very expensive. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, they're aimed at large agencies who have a large number of junior staff. They're not really for everyone else. Essentially it's moving AdWords to another platform. So if you exclude those guys, then actually there isn't a huge number of tools. So I think we've all got room to play. I'm the new boy on the block, so they'll probably all be sneering at me, but it's okay.
I'm sure. So Ed, what do you hope the first users of AdEvolver come away with? What do you want them to feel about the app after they've tried it?
If I can save them time, and they get results, but also if it triggers their ideas and inspiration from using the tool, then that's brilliant. Because I'm not going to price it expensively. I'm probably going to do a freemium product as well. Although the amount of times I read about freemium being potentially a nightmare because of infrastructure and all sorts. But I want to. The thing is, AdEvolver won't be appropriate for people who don't have a huge amount of data. So people spending less than say £500 a month, $500. I think there's no point them spending money on it. So it'd be nice to be able to give those people it for free, but I don't want to give them it for free if it's not useful. So pricing's a nightmare. But yeah, I just want people to get value, and I've got to show them value. But ultimately, it comes down to reducing complexity. So there are a couple of things that we're going to do. I like to call it like the new term on the block is predictive analytics. Well, I like to think of it as predictive AdWords now. So we're doing things that will project and predict where you're headed, and by making these changes, this is what you'll actually see. So it's like an advisor sat on your shoulder saying, well, you know what, if you actually just pause that, you just added something there and you just tweak that, you're actually going to, generate X. And that boils down to when I've trained people and trained staff, there have been on a number of occasions, and this, may surprise you, but I am fallible. Where you sat there. By the way, if people don't know me, I am being, coy. I'm not. That's tongue in cheek. I'm not that bloody arrogant. But there's times where you sat there and someone asks you a question, and your response is, "I don't know." It could be a number of things. I need to go away and analyze it, or we need to look into this, or you can't answer something on the spot because you need to analyze, and that frustrates the heck out of me. I want the answer. And the other thing that I found as well when teaching people is that if you give the same problem to two people, you get two different outcomes, which is scary because that means that one of them's wrong. We're talking about people's businesses, money, livelihoods. And as an agency owner, that petrified me that I could give the same problem to two experienced people, and one of them, they have two different outcomes, and most of the time that meant one of them was wrong, and that doesn't sit very well with me.
Sure.
So I wanted to get to a point where a tool could go, you know what, this is the right answer, or at least based on what we know with the data and what you're trying to do, this is what's going to happen. This is likely going to happen. That knowing that outcome, or at least having a projection, is quite crucial.
I think that's a great thing, Ed. There was a Google Analytics app that we did a podcast with a couple of months ago called Needle Analytics, who I now think it'd be very good for you to meet and just chat with, because they're trying to do that very thing with Google Analytics. So you're here talking about AdWords and wonderful channel of online marketing that we have, but their system is very interesting in that way. It tries to give you that kind of prediction through analytics. And I just wonder if there's some link up there that could benefit you both, who knows. But I agree with you, that predictive element of web marketing tools going forward is a huge thing, because it brings it into the realm of people who are not working in web marketing every day. It suddenly becomes something they can look at. And that gap that's always existed, you and I are from the same generation, we've been there before the internet began. There's always been this gap between those of us who would call ourselves online people and directors of businesses at the board table. And that type of predictive element begins to bridge that gap in a way that was never there before. So I would say that's a great thing to have in the app, without doubt.
Well, we all make mistakes as well. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. And, particularly if you're a freelancer and you've got, half a dozen clients or whatever, having no one to bounce ideas off is pretty harsh. And same for internal marketers as well. When your boss is demanding to know why something's not working, and it's you, that you're the one answering to it, and you're sat there staring at a wall of data, trying to pick through to find an issue, an answer. I've literally got 100. I've got a document that's too big, hundreds of ideas on it, and I just wish that we could build it quicker. We're starting around a proper ad testing suite, which will flesh out, because ad testing, again, it's so underrated. And the reason it's underrated is because it's a pain in the backside. It takes too much time to do properly, especially for an agency. If you've got 20 or 30 or whatever accounts, it's just too time consuming. It could take two people an entire, it could be their full-time job. But I think what's important ultimately with AdWords not just AdEvolver, is doing stuff that pushes the needle in your favor, isn't it? So
Yes.
it's just it's making these incremental steps that compound over time, and not expecting a moonshot day one, which is unrealistic.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially in today's world where there's so many more people on AdWords and so many more people in the online marketing world altogether. So definitely so. So Ed, you mentioned there you just wish you could build this whole thing quicker. What do you hope personally to gain? You know, when AdEvolver is out there and it's got a few great customers, will there be a day where you just sit back and pour yourself a beer and congratulate yourself, or is there something else you want to do when that moment arises?
So I'm not a complacent person. The reason I built AdEvolver is because I needed to scratch my own itch, and I could have just sat back, taken the money, and not spent money. You know, I'm hemorrhaging money building this bloody thing, but I think it's good because it's going to help people, people like me. Even though there's only one of me, thank God. But I think, you know, if I'm really motivated to help other people succeed, and help other businesses grow, even other agencies. Like literally, I can't say this enough. I really want to help other agencies because I've been doing it. I've been running the agency now for 7-8 years. It's hard. It's hard work, and I've learned so much. So if someone's been running an agency for 3 or 4 years, I'm sure outside of AdWords, I could give them advice. If they just so happen to be using AdEvolver, but it makes me think I should be doing videos on things like agency reporting, client relations, and sales, because I've got a sales process that's pretty rock solid, and I just think I need to share this information because Midas Media is comfortable, it's profitable, and it doesn't need to be in this equation. I don't need to grow it. I've got a great set of clients. They're brilliant. It's very consistent. So I can take all that learning and help other agencies and even solo marketers in this space. I think I'd enjoy that, and it would obviously then bring people into AdEvolver naturally as well. So I don't know if that's really answered your question, but it's not about. The thing is, it's not just about making lots and lots of bloody money. I'm 35. I've got hopefully a long time left on this planet. I don't need 12 Ferraris. The 2 I've got already are plenty. I'm pulling your leg. I've only got one. I haven't even got one. I take the bus. I don't take the bus. I'm kidding. I hate buses. I bloody walk. So, but I've got enough. I've got a decade or 2 left in me, hopefully. And you know what? If it all works out in 10 years and I've helped enough people, then it'll be fine. I'm a great believer in that.
It sounds, Ed, like you're very much here to share. And I understand what you're saying, that there is money can be a motivator, but it's never really what any of us want. It's security, or it's to travel the world, or whatever it might be, but there's always something else that motivates us inside, and yours seems to be sharing. This idea that you've learnt all these great things and you want to share them. You don't want to keep them secret. You want to put them out there.
I mean, I don't want to. I'm not a multi-millionaire. I am comfortable. I make good money, but it's overrated. It is. I mean, being comfortable is not overrated, and I don't want to. I don't want to sound. I appreciate that side of it, but money in itself as a goal, honestly, it's overrated. And I do blame a lot of the modern culture for that. People posting pictures of bloody Lamborghinis and that nonsense, and people selling lifestyles to get there, and work 3 hours a year and you can make £1 million and all that nonsense. That sounds horrible. If you only work 3 hours a week to make £1 million, you've got a very boring life. And you can't pretend that I'm spending all that money skydiving, racing my Porsche, and in reality, you've got to have something to drive. If you're even half intelligent, you've got to have something that motivates you and uses your brain. Otherwise, you'll grow old, bored. I think.
Growing old, bored. None of us want that, do we?
This is getting a bit sort of philosophical now.
That's okay, Ed. My podcasts always do.
because I had a coffee before I came on. I do apologise.
Well, Ed, with that concept of sharing and all these great things that you know, where can we find you online?
So you can send me an email. I read every single email, and I pretty much reply to every single one, unless it's a weird email. But yeah, just Ed, so ED, single D, at AdEvolver.com, AdEvolver. Feel free to ping me an email or get me on Twitter, EdLeake, that's Leake. I'm on there most days, to be honest with you. I've got a blue tick on Twitter, so I'm super important, of course. And obviously, take a look at the YouTube channel, which I've just started for AdEvolver. So it's just AdEvolver again. There's only 10 videos on there. I have got my own channel from a few years ago, which is a bit more populated, but I am focusing on AdEvolver now. So yeah, they're the things. Ping me an email, send me a tweet, find me on LinkedIn or YouTube. I'm pretty easy to find, to be honest.
Great stuff. And Ed, it's been a lot of fun having you on the podcast today. You've been a great guest to chat with. Any final message you want to give everybody?
Well, I'm just thinking, shall we end on a bit of philosophy again?
Why not?
I was thinking about this because you did give me these questions before. Well, not all these questions. Some of them have changed, but you did say any final message, and I thought to myself, in life and business, when you put yourself out there, everything is up for scrutiny. And it doesn't matter how big or small your business is, or how big or small your ambition. So just do what you believe in, do what's right for you, and be yourself. And to be honest, the haters, you have to beat that out. They're fuel for your fire. So, bring it on. Just do it. You only live once. What's the worst that can happen?
Great message, Ed. You only live once. What's the worst that can happen? Just do it. Fantastic stuff. You're certainly doing that with AdEvolver. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It's been great chatting with you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Phil.
This podcast was brought to you by Positive Sparks, online advertising and pay-per-click agency for UK e-commerce businesses. If you would like 3 free tips on how to use pay-per-click to grow your business, please visit us at 3tips.positivesparks.com today.